emotion comes into play when I deliver, but like if you tell me the logic, then I can't 2 + 2 = 4 no matter how you put it. You know? And they give me that same respect. And sometimes I watch them recognize things that I brought to their attention as well as you and immediately fix it. You know? I ain't gonna say no name. One of the principals had an apprehension. Her dream was to be a photographer. She had no pictures on the wall. 10 minutes after the conversation, pictures on that wall. You know, I asked another principal, I said, look, your story is great, just write it. A week later, I had 6 episodes. Cast it, did too much. But usually when I tell somebody something, it takes them 6 years to listen. It takes these guys 6 seconds.
So one of the
and also the way they treat my wife, Raquel. You know, how important to them it is, because like the education from our child that's coming up is important. And they've been there. They've taught us so much. Just listening to their conversations, I learned a lot about how to direct. You know, every second that I spend with the principals is productive. I learned. I never got off a Zoom with the principals and didn't learn something.
So when you think back now, Dane, to again some of the most recent conversations you had with principals, was there one thing in particular that stood out in terms of advice that you gave them that you would give your children or have given your children? Because one of the things I respect about you, what you said was powerful, was, you know, you almost compared us to the Rockefeller days and the things that you were doing there. And to be around that seems to be something that I've seen you grow. I've seen you get more powerful even in these past 6 months than I've ever seen. Like, Dame has always been Dame Dash, but this improved Dame Dash is a whole nother level from what it is, you know, from what most people thought of Dame Dash. People get oftentimes caught up with how you said it versus what you said. So, what were some of the things that you remember either talking to these principals about that makes you realize like you've grown? You're not the same guy who you were 6 months ago before the pandemic hit and before OSG got started?
Well, in knowing the problem and understanding what needs to be done, making sure that these principals are celebrated and making sure that the people that they love the most are giving them love. And explaining to these principals that they deserve to be able to relax at some point and enjoy and to dream. Because a lot of times when someone, or at least, you know, back in the day, I've always wanted everyone to live as good as I do. But if someone was building my dream, I didn't make a point to make sure that I helped them build their own. And when you have so many people that support you when it comes to energy and facts, and you see how they will fight and put their life, because really, what really fucked me up was yesterday, bro, the Zoom. How committed they were to those kids. And it just seemed like nobody cared about them. I didn't see nobody caring about them. Who cares about the principals?
Do you want to go a little bit more in depth about what you heard that really made you feel that way, Dane? What was some of the things specifically?
Well, it's about the danger in opening up these schools and how they're going to be educated, and the fact that they physically have to be there to make sure things happen. And that's a risk. And they were actually putting their personal problems to the side. They were putting their family's personal problems to the side without and to me that was fearless. I'm like, y'all not even scared here. But sometimes it'd be like, to go get your dreams, the real ones, y'all scared of that, but y'all risking your life right here. And they were like, well, even like on the fence, maybe I'll come in, maybe I won't, I gotta be there. I'm telling you my advice, don't go. Leave with your own. There ain't nothing to talk about. That wasn't the attitude, you know?
But can't you also agree with that mentality when you were leading a group of people like you did at Rockefeller?
The problem I'm having is what they're fighting for. I don't agree with. I don't agree with the education they're fighting for. So to risk your life for something that either way is going to hurt, and they know it's not going to work. This way that's going to happen sounds like jail, and also homeschooling ain't going to work neither. It ain't going to work. People going to go through the motions. That's what's going to happen, but no one's going to learn. And then we're gonna have chaos in the future because our kids are not educated the right way. So I'm concerned. You know, and also brought to my attention because a lot of the kids go to school as an escape from the fucked up houses and, I'm sorry for cursing, but from their environments. They don't have that escape. A lot of kids, a lot of parents have to use school as a babysitter. But if you ain't going to school, who's gonna babysit those kids? But ain't nobody talking about that. But the principals are talking about it. They're concerned about it. But I feel like their hands is tied. I feel like I just feel the need to do something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's definitely true, Dane. You know, in many instances, their hands are tied. And, you know, for you to see it, and for you to speak about it is extremely impressive. You know, you've become extremely passionate about education, even more so now that we're around so many principals and school leaders and educators. What's happening with your children? Like, what's happening? I know you have a daughter who's in college. What's going on with that? And then another one.
You know what I'm pissed off about more than anything is I'm paying full price for homeschool that don't work. You know, and my kids lack that social interaction that they need. And if, you know, we prepared right to have a plan. You know, in the school system they call it pods. In my world, I was already telling my little daughter, Tallulah, like, yo, ain't gonna be no school. You might as well pick 5 or 10 of your best friends, quarantining, and we hire a school, or rather a teacher, and go get a little house or something for y'all to have your own little private school. But why pay 40 racks for you to have to do homeschool? And I don't get the benefit of the, you know, the physical or even the actual grounds of the school.
How about your oldest daughter, who?
She, again, that's 60 racks. LSU, you know, LMU, whatever, you know, LSU, Loyola Marymount, LMU. She going to school from home, and she's like, yo, I'm going through the motion. I'm doing what I got to do, but I ain't really getting what I was getting. I need somebody in front of me. So I'm paying for it, and it's not working. You know, I mean, she gonna do what she gonna do. They gonna get their diplomas, but I just don't feel that anyone's prepared for the next year. You know, that's what's happening.
Support the learning of young people who may not be going to school or who may need some extra that the curriculum isn't offering and things like that. I thought it was an extremely noble thought in your mind to even consider the kids who are not going to be able to make it, the kids who are not going to be able to make it to school, the kids who, you know, who have given up. But you said to yourself, you know what, we need to really talk about this act, you know, and part of
when I see the others feel weak. And it's not just because of my training from yesterday, it's because of my mentality from the second I can breathe. I control the narrative, not you. You don't tell me what makes me happy. You know, what makes me happy is the people I love being happy, and not you giving it to me. I like being able to, you know, earn and provide for my own. I don't want to be taken care of. It feels good to be a man.
And having the ability to put your kind of content on it and things like that. What are you going to say to, you know, a young person or even a teacher or a principal who are saying to themselves, this thing is hard, you know, the remote learning is hard, or, you know, the state of our community is in shambles. Like, what can I do?
I say this, you're supposed to look at it, this is a great time to change things. It's a great time to kind of order a better one. And if it took this to change things, and it's going to take a real general that's been prepared for a war instead of a soldier that's been sitting around waiting to be told what to do, then we're going to see who's about that action. I know I am. This is a great time. I'm thriving. I'm healthy when people are sick, and I appreciate every second that I can breathe that people can't, and I'm going to utilize every second to be about that action. Not to talk, but to walk, to run. Whoever feels like this is a bad time, you better change the narrative. I bet you felt like your life was bad before this, right? This is a good time to change it. Pull your skirt up. I'm not really here to be so nice. This shit don't work. People don't listen. I'm here to tell you the truth. If my tone makes you not listen to my words, you're a slave, you're a soldier. Generals don't listen to tone, they listen to logic. They want the W. That's who I'm talking to. Everyone else can follow suit.
Real talk. Yeah, that's big, Dane. One of the things that I'm saying to people is that, you know, this pandemic definitely did a number on destroying an educational system that we felt was broken for a long time. And now that we have the opportunity to fix it, now we have the opportunity to implement those things that our children and our communities really need. Now is not the time for us to get mad about it. Now it's not the time for us to get, to get complacent. It's for us to do exactly what Dane said, which is, let's be about that action. And when we're talking about what's needed in education right now, what's needed is for us to be innovative and creative and not be afraid of pushing the agenda to things that we know kids need to learn. We talk a lot about, the stuff that you feel that kids need to learn in school and things like that. Then what are some of those things that you feel is lacking in the educational system that if a principal out there or a teacher out there, a superintendent out there is hearing your voice, what are some of the things that they can now begin to start to put into their curriculum, put into their day, put into their schedule throughout the rest of, the school year and beyond?
First and foremost, entrepreneurship, knowing how to do your own business. Coding, learning how to build apps. Learning how to farm so you can sustain. Learning how to build your own house. Learning how to pay your own taxes. Understanding trauma and how to recognize it. Therapy. Health. Making sure that you know what meat and chicken and all that shit does to you, and milk. What it does so you have a choice. And exactly what you're putting in your body. All those things. Learning how to pass a law, how to lobby. They don't teach us how to pass laws or how to be politicians. Most politicians learn on the spot. And all the laws that have been made as of lately, most of them were made by people that had slaves 100 years ago. So every law needs to be changed. Any law that was made by someone that had a slave needs to be changed. And that's most laws. Any education curriculum that was made by someone that had a slave, that needs to be changed. It's logical. Why are we still having the same education we had when we were fucking slaves? The same religion, same laws. Because we're meant to be slaves and not to know it, so we don't get mad. We just get depressed. So we don't fight. So we fight each other. It's a program. It's time to change the matrix. Now we're deprogramming, and that's what my television network's about, and that's my block. And whoever's talking and selling the same kind of drugs I'm selling, that good shit, that, like-minded mentality, independent, that culture, good shit, then you can hustle on my block. Because my block's clicking.
So Dave, I want to shift gears just a little bit because I know you struggled in the past with diabetes, right?
I don't struggle, I'm diabetic.
You're a diabetic. And I think that what I've seen of you is that you take very good care of yourself in terms of how you eat, how you work out, and things like that. There are young people that are attending schools every day, and oftentimes they are looking at it as the restrictions that are placed on their lives because of it. What can you tell a young person out there, even a teacher or a principal who's really, dealing with diabetes in this way? How can they actually live their life to the fullest, despite those, those challenges that come with being a diabetic?
The thing about being a diabetic is to survive just means being healthy. And you should want to be healthy regardless. So if by default I'm diabetic, and because I'm diabetic it keeps me healthy, then it makes sure everything else, it makes me sure I don't get no cancer. It makes sure I don't have heart disease. Bottom line is we're all dealt some kind of card. But this hand that I'm dealt, I can live, I can walk. It ain't that bad. I look at other people's shit and I be like, I'd rather have this than that, because I'm in control. There's a discipline, like you have to wipe your behind every time you go to the bathroom. You just get used to it. You wake up and you brush your teeth. So testing your blood is just part of the game. And because of the innovations that are happening now, it's way easier to be diabetic than it once was. But know this, every great thing I've done while I was diabetic out of appreciation for life. So if you appreciate life, if God just gave you diabetes, you should fucking worry what's happening now.
What do you say to that person who says, you know what, Dane, it's all right to say the same thing 20 years ago and then again 20 years later, but is it okay to say it the same way? Because one of the things I think people have always, brought to the forefront is how difficult it is sometimes to talk to Dane Dash. And again, like you said, generals don't look at how it's said, they look at the logic behind what was said. Is there any truth to the fact that maybe there is a need to say things a little different, even if it was logic and truth?
No, because I have the same. I have the results. So if you come back with the Super Bowl ring each and every time, why would you stop doing it?
I got a question for you.
But I need the answer to that. If I keep coming back with the ring, and soldiers keep telling me how to talk, they haven't won shit. Because everybody that wins don't tell me to talk different. Everyone wearing those rings that I can make sure they're like, I'm glad you did it that way, just don't take my girl. You know what I'm saying? That's not what it'll be. So, you know, to me, everyone's too fucking sensitive. Everyone's too scared. And unless you deal with results, if I was talking shit, there wasn't no results. I ain't saying the same thing. I'm showing it 20 years later. I ain't like, yo, you know, you should do this, you should do that, and I'm not doing it. I actually do what I tell you to do. 20 years later, I was like, you should have did it. Now look where I'm at, look where you at. You should have listened. And now you're questioning something I'm saying moving forward. So you ain't gonna listen no way, I tell you. Your ego's not gonna let you. I don't subserve other men's ego. Actually, I punish a motherfucker's ego. They deserve it. If you can't take truth, then you gotta pull your skirt. You know, my crew don't do that. The winners I know, the winner's circle, we ain't worried about all that. As long as we respectful, that's all that matters. But if you ain't listening, you ain't listening. You know, if you're a slave, stay a slave. But don't be one around me. You know, you're a soldier, stay a soldier. But I'm a general. Don't expect to talk to me any way you want unless you've done what I've done. Unless you got some action behind you, I don't want to hear your opinion. And that's just that. Don't tell me what you think it is. Tell me what you know it is based on what you did. And other than that, it's gibberish. You're Charlie Brown's teaching. Wah, 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 wah. I'm not here to make you fucking feel good. I'm sick of that shit. Nah, I'm not saying nothing different. Because the results.
Let me ask you a question, and I know I kind of
Only the women.
I think
I only want to make sure women and kids, I don't want to hurt their feelings.
I might know this answer, but if you could go back in time and talk to, in 1996, and talk to young Dave Dash, what advice would you give?
Yo, keep doing what you're doing, bro. Because every second of my life has been fun. And every second of my life, my fun has made everybody else make money. But I haven't had a sad moment other than the tragedies that I can't control. So the one thing I would have done different is I would have been like, yo, Aaliyah, don't get on that plane, I don't care what they say. Wow. Fuck that plane. Because she said she was scared of that plane. Wow. And I said, don't get on it. And she was like, I got you. I should have been like, nah, you don't. And I should have just been I should have been a dick back then. I should have been that asshole about that plane. You know, that's when I regretted not being Dave Dash. The one time I was fucking nice is the time I lost my fucking girl. And someone I love.
Salute.
So that's why I'm not doing it different. Because people die when I do it different.
That's real. Real talk.
That's dope. So Dane, you know, you got some parting words for my principals out there, my school leaders out there, my educators out there, my young people out there who really are in, you know, an uncertain place in their life right now. Do you have anything you want to just leave them with to keep them, you know, somewhat uplifted?
I just want to make sure they know they're superheroes, they have confidence, and to dream big. See the win, the W. Because the more money, because a lot of times these principals don't think they deserve money. I don't want to get money. I'm like, what are you talking about? The reason why you want to get money is the more money you have, the more you can take care of the people you love. And live luxury. Y'all deserve luxury. And your families deserve luxury. And everybody you love deserves luxury. And it's fucked up that money gives you that, but you deserve to have that peace of mind and that private jet and that island to go to because of the work you're doing. I see people that do way less for people make way more. And they're unhappy. But I think if you guys have big dreams, big visions, and they realize themselves, you'll change everything because you can't teach somebody how to be rich if you ain't got no money, period. And these kids only listen to whoever got the plug. And these principles to me are the plug. They got the swag. And I feel like the assets that they have in their brain can make it where they have the cash to do whatever the fuck they want to do. Whenever they want to do it. And protect who they want to protect, how they want to protect it. They got it. They just got to know it.
Well, again, I appreciate you, Dame. I appreciate you taking the time.
Having answers when most had questions. And also, you know, making sure that the principal's mind is right. You You know what I mean? It's a big deal. And also being fly. Big shout out to the principal being fly.
All day.
All of them is fly. You can't just be a principal and be OSG. You have to be a fly principal. And that's what I like about the OSG.
No
It's
doubt.
not just principals. You gotta be a principal with a little bit of fashion, a little bit of swag, and you can't be
Let's fuck that.